else. Someone wants to learn.
Woo!
We should have advertised this as I'm giving away money.
I'm putting the recording on so people will be able to see this. I'll have a recording of it.
Woo-hoo.
So.
All right. Is it Dharmendra? I'm gonna butcher.
Yes, yeah. This is Dharmendra.
Heck of your name today, man. What's going on? You want to make some money?
Yeah, sure. I'm ready.
I do.
All right, cool. He likes making money.
yeah.
Anybody else like making money? Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, you know what? I'm going to give it one more minute, and at 3:10, I'm getting this thing started. So get your questions ready, get your notebooks, get your pens, get ready to go. We got some important stuff to go over.
I think we should give it like 2 more minutes just because.
All right, fine. He's the
2 more
boss.
minutes because I just posted it on the wall.
I just do what Alex says here, guys.
Huh?
I just do what Alex says. I'm not
I'm just trying to get as many people in as we can.
I'm ready. I'm ready when they are.
Cool.
Laying back, putting my feet up, waiting when they get it. Oh.
Fred, I just told my husband we're about to be rich.
Yeah, I want to see.
You're going to give us the keys to the kingdom.
Listen, some of you guys will have more credit available to you by the end of this recording today than others. Emily, what's going on?
Emily, see, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. We wait a couple minutes. We start piling people in. Emily!
So for the next one that we do, we're going to say it's at 3, but I'm actually going to start at 3:15.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
Good.
Good. I have you guys in my pocket because I'm packing my apartment. I only have like 20-something days left, and I have to get everything done and sold and all that good stuff.
Do you know where you're moving to yet?
Florida.
Oh, look at you.
Making a big move.
I was going to say I have a unit available, but I guess, Florida's a little nicer than Philadelphia.
Well, it's a little warmer. That's the goal, and it just happened to be the right.
You know, we got the pandemic, we got murder hornets, and now it's 48 degrees in May.
Yeah, right.
Oh, the murder hornets are in Philly?
I don't know. I don't even know if they're real. Who the heck knows? Who knows?
Well, they are real.
I'm actually doing a live on Facebook too now, so
we're probably not gonna avoid the pandemic unless we move somewhere like, I don't know, Kansas or something
I know.
like that.
It's always something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a live on Facebook also. So I'm connecting right now.
You're a man, Alex.
Trying to get every avenue so people can watch it.
I just make this look good. All right. Cool. Ooh, who else is here? Bill Bates is here.
Bates, are you back?
Did he ever really leave?
Traveling on us.
Did I really ever leave?
That's what I figured. You said he sent a picture of the beach. He put a picture of the beach.
You never know about Bates.
He just like a garbage can. That ain't freaking Cancun.
Yeah, I tagged myself in Cinco de Mayo. Exactly. I was at a Jersey beach yesterday.
I saw that. You never know where Bates will turn up, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought he's been ghosting me recently, but I guess he actually wants to come hang out with me now.
Yeah, dude. I wanted to hear this.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
this is
man.
good stuff.
You know, even though you weren't there for me when I talk, but it's okay. I won't hold it against you. But you've heard me talk enough over the past 3 years that I would probably want to show up.
Yeah, I mean, every time you call me, it turns into like a 3-hour phone call. You know.
Okay, let's start.
Yeah, same deal. All right.
Okay, let's start. Yeah, it's not.
I told you I was in charge.
Yep.
All right, people.
Let's start.
Here's the deal. So I want to start out today with a challenge. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 people on here right now. There are probably going to be more people jumping in as we go along. But here's the challenge. Throughout today, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to increase your credit. Some of you guys are going to apply what I teach you. Others of you may or may not. So for those of you that apply what I learned, by the end of this presentation today, you could have more money. you could literally have more credit in your account, more credit available to you at the end. So if you guys are following along with me, I want to see who actually increases their credit the most at the end. Does that sound like a good challenge? Give me a thumbs up if you guys like that challenge. Oh yeah, I like it. So real quick, let's start out. I want to cover a couple of, if anybody has any questions or an area that they want me to hit or something that they want me to talk about, let's address that now and I'll write it down and then we can kind of go from there. So does anybody have anything that they want me to talk about? Go ahead, Leah.
Where do you move the money from your credit cards?
Awesome. How to get the money off your credit card. Right?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? Got anything, or everybody else just wants the money?
What's the best cards to apply for?
Best cards to apply for.
But an extension of that question, the best cards to apply for with the highest line of credit
Right.
based on your credit profile, I guess, if that makes sense.
Sure. I'm with you.
Fred,
And then I guess, are there any cards you could, what can you do to like just immediately improve your credit?
Cool.
Like what are those things you do?
Immediately improve credit. Anybody else?
and do you have any insights for small business credit kind of thing?
Okay. Business credit?
Yep.
Cool.
I'm on
Cool,
the business
cool.
credit too.
Say that again, Emily.
I'm on the business credit too. And yeah, just basically credit cards along the lines of what Bill was saying.
And then
All right.
is there any way
Sweet.
to switch your credit cards? Should you have credit cards personal or credit cards business or both? And can you switch? You know, I have some cards that maybe I might want in my business name. Is there a pros and cons or?
Leah, you're out of questions at this point. You've already asked like 4.
Listen, I'm so excited to be here, Fred.
I can tell. All right, cool. So I think we got a good start. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's get right into it. So here's the first tip. You know, I basically want to kind of do like a rapid fire, like tips to increasing your credit. Here's the first tip. You guys ready for this? Write this down. Apply, apply, apply. So nobody can ever get any credit if you don't ask for it, right? So I got a bunch of credit cards. I got all kinds of cards here, cards there, and I'm literally constantly asking for credit. And about every 2 months, I'll apply for an increase on multiple cards, usually about 4 or 5 different cards. I'll ask for an increase. And here's the thing. People freak out about this and they get overwhelmed about applying because they're afraid of that little thing called hard inquiries, right? So let's all grab what's up? Let's all grab a calculator real quick. So if we look at a FICO score, your FICO score ranges from 300. What's up, Natalie? From 300 to 850. I don't know why it starts at 300, but let's just assume that it started at 0. So if it started at 0, it would go from 0 to 550. Everybody still with me? That makes sense? So if it goes from 0 to 550, that means 550 could be your greatest credit score, right? Your highest score possible. Hard inquiries account for 10% of your overall credit. So now let's take your best score possible, 550 in this scenario, and multiply that by 10%, right? Anybody got it? What is it?
55.
Okay, 55.
55, right? So what that means is that with hard inquiries, the most points you could ever possibly lose in the entirety of your credit score is 55 points. So if you have an 850 credit score and you lose 55 points, you now have a 795 credit score. Let me ask you guys, are you guys okay with a 795 credit score?
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course, right? So hard inquiries affect your score so little that you don't need to worry about it anymore. Here's the next thing that I want to talk about. The other reason why you should apply often is something called your utilization ratio. So your utilization ratio is basically a big fancy way of saying your balance, like your balance to availability on your credit card. So let's just use the example that you have $10,000 worth of available credit. So if you have $10,000 worth of available credit altogether, and you have a $1,000 balance, you owe $1,000. That means that your utilization ratio is 10%. So you owe 10% of what you have available. Everybody still with me? If you guys are lost, just interrupt me and let me know. So you owe 10%. Now, let's imagine that you never pay a single penny of that $1,000. You pay nothing on it, but you apply for an increase, and let's just say your credit score now goes up to $20,000. Right? So you apply for new cards and for increases, and you increase your credit to $20,000 without ever paying a single penny on that $1,000 balance. Your utilization ratio dropped from 10% down to 5%. So that means that your credit score went up. Even though you got hard inquiries from applying, your credit score went up because your utilization ratio dropped down. Here's why that's important. This is why that's really important. Your utilization ratio accounts for 35% of your overall credit. So if you have $10,000 worth of credit and a $10,000 balance or 100% utilization ratio, you've lost 193 points from your credit. Now we've done some damage, right? So that's the biggest. Actually, that's the second biggest point. The first biggest point is making payments on time, right? Even if they're minimum payments, right? So on-time payments and your utilization ratio are the two biggest factors to your credit score. The smallest factor to your credit score are hard inquiries. So basically, what I'm trying to hit you guys with right now is stop worrying about hard inquiries. Here's the other really cool thing. Once you hit 10 hard inquiries, you've already lost all 55 points. So after 10, it doesn't even matter, right? So let me show you guys something real quick. So I'm going to share, see if I can. Again. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Here it is. Boom. All right. So you guys can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So this is Credit Karma. So if you guys don't already have a Credit Karma account, get a Credit Karma account. Here's the biggest reason why. It's free. So if you guys are anything like me, you like free. Now, I know what everybody's thinking. These are my credit scores. You guys are like, oh my God, Fred, you have a 630 credit score. What the heck's wrong with you? Here's the other thing that we need to understand about our credit score. We need to ask ourselves a question. What are we using that credit score for? So a lot of people, they try to get like this trophy score. They try to get like this perfect 850, 820, credit score where everything's perfect and everything's flawless. I don't care about my score. The only thing that you need a credit score for is if you're applying for a mortgage to buy a house or a loan for a car, right? That's the only time that your credit score comes into play. So if you're not applying for any loans anytime soon, you don't need your score. So what I recently did was I beat my score up. So my score used to be a 700 according to Credit Karma, but I recently beat it up. I started pulling money off of my credit cards. I started applying more aggressively and things like that. So it dropped a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I don't care because I'm not using it for anything, right? If I'm going to be buying a house with a mortgage or applying for a car loan, I'll build it back up. I'll pay off all my balances and I'll get it to shoot right back up. So don't worry about that. This is what I want you guys to see. So in Credit Karma, they give you a lot of really cool information. So the free version obviously is not the most accurate credit report. You can get the paid version. You don't need it. I don't encourage you to. Just get the free version. This is why. This is the greatest screen ever, right? So here's your payment history. So you want to have 100% payment history, right? That means that I've made every single payment on time forever. Here's a little life hack, a way to do this, right? We just had a economic crash and a pandemic hit us. So for some of us, things might have gotten a little tight. And even if there's not a pandemic or an economic crash, guess what? Most of us are entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs live their life on a roller coaster. And sometimes things are great and they're rocking, and other times things are a little tight. When things get a little tight, here's the hack. This is what you do. When your income comes in on the first of the month, the first thing you do is you go and you pay off all of your credit cards, even if it's just minimum payments. Then take the money off of your credit cards and lines of credit and pay your bills, because that will keep you from getting a 30-day late. You have to understand something about your credit report, and I'm going to show you right here. So this is why my score dropped, because my utilization ratio is a little bit high, and actually 34% is not bad, right? Typically, you want to try to keep your utilization ratio between 1 and 30%, and then like 30 to 50% is it's kind of bad. 50% and above is really bad. So that's kind of like the range that we want to keep it in, just in terms of keeping your score good. So if you're trying to keep a good score, keep your payment history on time using that hack that we talked about, and just making your payments every month. And if you can accelerate payments, meaning if your minimum payment is $50 a month and you pay $150 a month, that's great. Do that. That's awesome, right? That actually helps a lot. And then keeping your utilization ratio low, that'll keep your score up. That's what matters. That's what really affects your score. All this other stuff, I mean, derogatories, they affect your score too, but that comes from not making payments typically. So that's not really a category, but these three categories, they don't really account for much. These are both 10 and 15% of your credit. So who cares? And as you guys can see, I have 55 hard inquiries, right? But I don't care, right? And the best part is my credit isn't trashed. It's not like I have a 400 credit score. On here I have a 650, which isn't atrocious, but if we want to apply for a loan, I'd want to get it to like 720-ish in that range. But let's look at this real quick. So going back to that hack that we talked about. So your credit cards, they report to the credit bureaus on a certain day of the week, or I'm sorry, a certain day of the month, right? So like you can see my TrueMark credit card reports on the 1st of the month. My PayPal credit card reports on the 14th. This one reports on the 30th, on the 23rd. This is really important information to know, because this is how you can manipulate your credit score. For instance, let's just take my first one. The TrueMark credit card reports on the 1st of the month. So what I would do if I wanted to keep a really good credit score is I would take a card probably like this one. So let's just say these were both equal. So this one's 15,000 and this one's 15,000. So this one reports on the 14th. So let's just say that I owe nothing on this card, right? This Capital One card. And let's say it has a $15,000 availability on it. And let's say I owe nothing on it. So on the 14th, it hits the credit bureau and it reports to my credit report. Then around the 25th to 27th, I would take the entire balance from this card that's $15,000 and I would pay off this card. Right now, on the 1st, it's actually going to be about 3 or 4 days before the actual 1st that they pull it, but it actually reports back to you on the 1st. So give it a few days. Don't pay it exactly on the 1st. Pay it a few days before the 1st. So I pay this card off before the 1st. So when it reports to the bureau, it looks like I have a zero balance on this card. So now I can literally ping pong between these two cards and make it look like to the credit bureaus that I'm carrying no balance, even though I actually owe $15,000 on one of the cards, but I'm just bouncing it between the two because they both report on different days. So that's why this is really important information to have. And check this out. At one point, you're going to reach the same point as me, where you actually have, I'll show you here, a spreadsheet, right? So here's a spreadsheet of all my different credit cards, right? So I have all my different credit cards, all my different limits, the available limits, the amount of interest that they charge, and then the day that they report to the credit bureau. So all the ones that I could find are on there. So I think someone has a question here. Andrew, do you have to pay any fees for paying off one credit card with another? So Andrew, to answer your question, it depends. It depends on how you, it depends on the terms of the card and how you pull the money off of it. So let's actually get into that in just a minute. So that's a great question. I'm glad that you brought that up. So yeah, so real quick, you want to know which day it reports to the credit bureau, and then you can ping pong it around if you need to. If you want to maintain that strong credit score, maybe you're doing a refinance, or maybe you're applying for a mortgage or a car loan or something like that. So let's actually do this. So let's come back here. All right, so everybody can see me. If anybody has any other questions, you can kind of just shout them out or put them in the chat box. But let's talk about getting money off of your credit cards.
Hey, Fred.
What's up?
Just before you get into that, I wanted to mention something that I've noticed about Credit Karma.
What's up?
I do some of those sites where I pull my tri-merge for like $1 a month or whatever, that one-time pull.
Right.
I've always noticed that my Credit Karma is always lower by about 25 to 30 points on all the two bureaus they report to, or even sometimes 35 to 40, depending.
Yeah.
So just people know that your score might be a little higher, just so you're aware. That's all.
Yeah.
I know you know that, but I just wanted to point that out.
No, it's a great point to bring up. So I'm glad that Bill mentioned that. So one of the biggest misconceptions with credit is the fact that people think that we only have one credit score. The fact is we have hundreds, and we all have hundreds simultaneously at different times. Here's what happens. So here, I'll show you the perfect example right here. So let me go back to my screen. Let me go into here. Can I move this? Yeah, I can move it. All right, cool. So let's do TrueMark. Let's see if this is working again. The website was being weird earlier. There we go. Come on. Come on. Alakazam. All right. Here we go. Move this out of the way. Put that there. All right, cool. So let's go to member services, FICO score. So check this out. So this is my score according to my my credit union. It's a 725, right? And then if you remember, if we go to Credit Karma has, wait for it, 630. So what the heck? I have a 725 with TrueMark and a 630 with Credit Karma. The reason for that is because the criteria that Credit Karma and my bank, TrueMark Credit Union, are using to pull a credit report are different criteria. So you notice this says FICO score, right? So your FICO score we mentioned earlier ranges from 300 to 850. And then there's Vantage scores, which range from, I think, like 400 to 990 or something like that. And then there's even like certain companies that make their own scoring model. Like I know there's a credit card, it's called Indigo. I don't actually have it, but it's a card called Indigo. And Indigo cards have their own scoring model. So I recently just applied and they told me that my credit score was a 217. I don't know what the hell that means. But here's my point. My point is, if you go to a car dealership and you apply for a loan to get a car, they might deny you and say that your score is a 680. And then you're all depressed and you drive to the bank and you go to the bank and you say, hey, I want to apply for a credit card. And they approve you and they tell you that your score is a 725. And you're like, what the heck? How come I couldn't get my car 10 minutes ago because I had a 680, but I have a 725 at the bank? And the reason is because they're pulling actually different scores. They're pulling a credit weighted score versus a car loan weighted score. So it's not necessarily that Credit Karma or my bank is wrong. It's just a different scoring model. So they're weighting your score in different ways. So that's another reason why you don't really want to have this trophy credit score. Because if you have one score that's an 850, you could have 800 other ones that aren't an 850. And then it's like this game that you can never win, essentially, right? So what I try to do is I try to go for more of a well-rounded credit report as opposed to the score. Here's another way to look at it, and I'm going to make it so much easier than that long explanation that I just gave you. You guys have two options. You ready? Option number one, you can have an 850 credit score and $500 worth of available credit. or you can have a 500 credit score and $500,000 worth of available credit. Which one do you guys want? Right? $500,000. That's the one that I want, of course. Right? Yeah, that's an easy one, right? We want
Yeah.
the money because you can take the money and you can buy groceries with it, right?
True.
You can have an emergency fund and you can buy assets with it.
Right.
Let's talk about accessing the money off of these cards, because what happens is, like, this is the perfect card right here. This card, this Credit One card that I have, has $2,000 worth of available credit, but my balance transfer and my
Hey.
what's up?
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
man.
No.
Oh, I thought you wanted something. No worries. My balance transfer and my cash advance is limited to only $500, right? So this $2,000 card, technically, I could only get $500 off of it, right? Well, here's what you do. So most of us are business owners. If you're not a business owner, start a business, because it's going to make it so much easier to build credit if you have a business. I don't care if you mow lawns, if you shovel snow, if you take out trash, if you clean houses, it doesn't matter. Start a small business so that you can do this. So what you do is you create 2 PayPal accounts. You have a personal PayPal account and a business PayPal account. Now, has anybody ever had a business invoice them from PayPal? Of course, we all have. Well, what if the business that invoices you from PayPal is a business that you own? You guys with me? So if you want to access $10,000 off of your credit cards, Fred Posimo LLC charges Fred Posimo the person $10,000 as a whatever consulting fee, coaching client, whatever the heck you want to make it. Now I have to pay that $10,000. So I'm using, I can use my credit cards to pay that $10,000 invoice that I got off of PayPal at that point. So that's how we access all of the money off of our credit cards. Sometimes our cards will charge us a fee to do something like that, but who cares? If I have a $15,000 credit card and it charges me $300, what do I care? I got to use $15,000 and they charged me $300, right? It's like, think about it this way. If you borrow money from a private lender and they give you $20,000 and you owe them $22,000 back, wouldn't you guys do that deal all day long? Of course you would, right? So it's the same thing. MasterCard, Discover, and Visa are my 3 favorite private lenders of all time, right? These are where I get my money from, right? And that's how you use credit cards to buy houses. So now your PayPal business invoices your personal PayPal, right? You pay it off using your credit cards, right? So now basically you just moved your credit cards into your PayPal business account, and then you just pull it off of that account and get the cash, or get a, write a check, or however you want to do it, and then walk into closing with that check. Right? Now you bought a house using credit cards. Then you refinance out, you sell it, or whatever exit you do, and you pay the credit cards back. And yeah, maybe you paid a little bit of interest in that time, but it's going to be negligible. It's going to cost you a little bit. It's the cost of doing business at that point. But again, you got $30,000 to use, and you paid $700 or $2,000 to use that money, right? And then then now you have an asset that's producing with equity in it, and a tenant that's paying all your expenses for it, and you're making money on the back end, right? Credit cards are great for 2 things. They're a fantastic emergency fund. If you need to buy groceries and I hate using this word now, in a pandemic, right, or a crisis emergency, you can buy groceries with them. 2, if you want to buy an asset with them, you can buy an asset. All right, Emily's got a question. Do I have any suggestions for applying for credit with a 7-year-old bankruptcy? Got some bad advice years ago to file, and that is the only thing that always seems to get me denied for increasing credit. Yeah, this, yeah.
So what happened is I thought it was going to be over, and I was like, okay, 7's not bad, but now I find out that it's going to stay on my credit score until year 10. So I've applied for multiple cards, but all of them seem to deny me because of that. and then but my credit score is like a 725, which is okay. So I was trying to utilize other people's lines of credit. I asked my mom, I said, Mom, do you have a higher limit credit card that you're really not using? So she's gonna sign me as an authorized user. I'm on, some of Lewis's just to boost my credit and like show that I have credit cards under mine as an authorized. But I wasn't sure if you know of any cards or any specific, lines of credit that people
So
can overlook that.
it's difficult when you have something like basically it's a derogatory on your credit. It's difficult to navigate. It's not impossible, but it's more difficult to navigate credit with something like that on there. So like if you miss payments for over 90 days, your payments go into collections, and then the collection agency technically files a lawsuit against you, and they can garnish wages and stuff like that, blah 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 blah. And basically they stick this thing on your credit report called a derogatory, and a derogatory is something that we need to work around. So what I want to do, Emily, to help answer your question is, one, I would have you figure out the terms around that bankruptcy, because after 7 years, I feel like it should fall off. It's weird that it's you said it's a 10-year bankruptcy. I've never actually heard that before. Second thing that I would actually recommend for someone in your case is look into a credit repair company and see what they recommend.
Okay.
Because I don't really, it's not really my my area of expertise to eliminate derogatories and things like that, and actually clean people's credit reports off of clean people's credit reports up. So I would recommend going to a credit repair agency and seeing what they say. And I wouldn't really pay them a ton of money, but I would just say, hey, look, I got this derogatory on my credit. Is there a way that we can work around this? What's my best plan of action here? And then let them give you a free quote. And, if you like what they're saying, go with that and see if they can help you clean it up or whatever. The other thing is I would consult an attorney and see, like, did I file some weird, like, chapter, 72 bankruptcy that lasts for 10 years? Because I was under the impression that they stayed for 7 years, and then they can actually look into your paperwork and
Yeah, I'm thinking about going back to the guy that did it and seeing, because I remember him distinctly saying 7, so it should be off my credit and still affecting it. So I wasn't sure if I had to go to the county to ask them, because it does go through like the county court's office or whatever.
right.
So I think I'll just try both those, and then the suggestions that you gave. Thank
Sure.
you.
Here's the other thing that I want to show you guys. So let me share my screen again. So the most important thing, and the thing that people often do improperly, is they fill out their application wrong. So another reason why I love Credit Karma is right up here. If you guys can see my screen, there's actually a button in the toolbar that says cards. And then if you click on that, what they actually do is they give you recommendations on credit cards. So whenever I'm bored, like, because I'm a little nuts, I basically just go in here and I start applying for credit cards. Now, there's a couple rules when applying for credit cards. Number one, only apply for unsecured credit cards. So just for those of you that don't know the difference, secured cards are going to use your own money. So basically, if you want a $500 secured credit card, you need to fork up $500 of your own money. And then they basically make that into a revolving line. They're great for building credit if you don't already have a strong credit score or anything like that. You can use those, and they're really easy to get approved on. Like, basically if you can fog up a mirror, you're approved. Second thing, never apply for department store credit cards, because you can't go to Macy's and buy your family food in a crisis. At least I don't think Macy's sells food, right? So it's kind of a waste of a card, and it's a waste of an inquiry at that point, right? So only apply for cards that are ubiquitous, cards that you can use anywhere. Discover card is a really easy one to get, along with this card. This is a Capital One card. It's called Quicksilver. So this one's really easy to get. This one's like impossible to get increases on though. So this is a really low card. This is only $500. But if you're trying to build your credit and just getting started, it's a pretty easy one to apply for. And I always recommend Discover as well. So let's just check this out real quick. So like, here's a card
Which
right
one did you say before Discover, Fred? I'm sorry.
Discover and Capital
Before
One.
Discover.
Capital
One.
Quicksilver. Yeah, so these ones are really easy to get. And this one is usually recommended by Credit Karma. So that's actually where I found this card at. And It's easy to get. It's nearly impossible to get an increase. Ask me how I know. But it's a great card, right? Those are two good ones that I recommend. And then I'm going to give you a really badass one towards the end here. But let's check out this card. So I want to show you guys how to actually fill out the application. So this is just the first card that I see on here. It's a credit one. I think it's like a cashback one, which is actually funny because I have this credit one card. So this one's a little bit different, right? So you click on it and they bring up this application for you to fill out. So a couple things. So obviously all the main stuff, blah, 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 right? You get all that. You put in your social, you put in your date of birth, right? Here's the thing. When it comes to them asking you your total monthly income, right? Let me look at you guys real quick. We're all self-employed for the most part. If you're not, become self-employed, get a business. Here's why. Let me ask everybody a question. How much money do you want to make this year in your business?
The most that I can.
The most that you can. So, Leah, I'm glad that you answered that. So in that box where it asks you the question, your total monthly income or your total annual income, how much do you want to put in there?
I don't, what's the highest number I could get?
How much do you think?
Does it matter?
How much money do you think?
20, let's just say 20. What did you say that again?
How much money do you think you're going to make this year?
Let's say 200.
Perfect. So what I'm trying to say is this. I want you guys to focus on doing two things. One is manifestation. So when they ask you how much money you make for the year, how much money you want to make, or how much, what your annual income is, always put in there your predicted income or your projected income for the end of this year. Don't put what was on your tax returns last year. Put what you want to make. Because look, as investors, as business owners, as self-employed individuals, it's hard for us to actually figure out how much money we're going to make. How do we know if we're not going to do a fix and flip in the middle of this year and make $60,000 on one flip, plus all of our other income? I don't know that. That could happen, right? So bank on it. It does two things. One, it makes it much more likely that you're going to be approved. But two, it helps that number become a reality for you because you're manifesting that number now. Every time that you're applying, you're putting, I make 150,000, I make 200,000, there is a threshold though. Around like 280, 300, for whatever reason, they ask for tax returns. So you can't go too high. You can't just put like $8 million in there and try to get approved for everything. So make it somewhat realistic, and you'll probably get to the point where you're actually making so much money that you need to actually back it down a little bit so that they don't ask you for your tax returns, and then you have to go through a whole nother rigmarole and this, that, and the third. So I like to stay in like the $120,000 to $250,000 range. So put it somewhere in there because it's gonna allow you to start making that amount of money when you're already thinking that way, right? If you're thinking 50, 60,000, that's where you're going to end at the end of this year. If you're thinking double that, that's more likely where you're going to end. And the best part is, what if I'm half wrong? If you're thinking you're going to make $180,000 this year and you only end up making $90,000, but last year you made 45, whoops, right? So that's one of the biggest keys. So let me actually fill this out, and I want to type in my social security number in front of all you guys. But I want to show you another part here. If they have it on this application here, which they should. So let me share my screen. If I can figure out which one it is. That one, share. All right. Can you guys see my screen, or is that not showing up?
Do you have a Zoom us? Is that you or?
Oh, hold on. I'm sharing the wrong screen. My bad. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. All right, now it really doesn't want to share my screen. Weird. Hold on one second. Yeah, it's just being a butthead. You know, it's like technology works perfect until you need it to work, and then it's like, nope, I don't want to do anything.
Fred, aren't you the self-proclaimed non-techie of your millennial generation?
Exactly. All right, now you can see my screen, right? Can you? Or am I?
Yes.
All right, good.
Yeah.
Right. So my income for this year, I am going to make $180,000. Right? Or actually, they want monthly. So I don't even know what that is. It's like 12,000 a month, something like that. Right? So now it's going, da 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 da, blah blah blah. Here we go. Right? So I'm almost done. So it has me fill out all this dumb crap, agree, whatever. Right? And then okay, so at this time they were not able to approve my application. So I got declined. Wow, so sad. Okay, here's the cool thing, guys. So one of three things will happen anytime you apply. They'll either say, yes, you're approved. No, you're not approved. You were declined. Or they'll say, yes, you were approved, but we couldn't give you the amount that you asked for. We can only give you X, right? So as long as you don't get your feelings hurt when they deny you, you'll be fine. Just keep applying. You know what I'm going to do with this card? I'm going to wait 2 months. And in 2 months, I'm going to apply for it again. Right? Where is it? This card. This is my newest card. So I just got, you guys probably saw me post this on my Facebook. So this is my newest card that I just got. It's an eBay credit card. I literally applied for this card about 6 times and got declined the first 6 times. I was on eBay about a month ago trying to buy something, and I saw the advertisement for the card pop up. And I'm like, you know what? I'm bored. Let me apply for it. And I applied for it and got $7,000. So what do you think affected my score more, the increase of $7,000 to my credit report or the hard inquiry? The increase, right? So my score actually went up when I applied for this, when I got approved for this card, right? Same thing with this one. Discover card. I told you guys Discover card's easy to get. Well, for whatever reason, for me, it was very difficult. This took me like 8 tries to get this card, right? And I finally got it. But you know, that's the key, is just keep on going through. One more key. When you guys fill out the application, on your application, you're always employed. Never put self-employed on your application. They get all whacked out. You don't have to as much anymore. You're always employed. If you don't have a W-2 salary job, you're employed by the company that you own, right? So for me, forever, I was asset manager of Impact Perceptions LLC, which is my own company, right? So you're always employed. You're always putting your projected income on there. And really important, if they ever ask you the question, how much credit do you want to apply for? Pick a really big number, right? So normally if I have somebody on the phone, I'll ask them, what's the maximum I can apply for? And whatever they say, 25,000, 50,000, I say, yeah, let's apply for that, right? And I ask for the full amount. If sometimes online, they won't tell you what the maximum is, but they'll just say, you know, how much do you want to apply for? I usually go between 25 and 50,000. The reason why is because if you apply for $1,000 and they would have given you $5,000, they're now only going to give you one. So you missed out on $4,000 worth of money that you could have gotten at that point, right? And same thing when you apply for an increase, I always go for like at least $10,000 over what I already have. I get crazy. I'm like, I have a $2,000 card. Can I get $15,000? You know, and something like that, and see what they say. You know, because they might say, no, you can't have 15,000, but here's 10,000. Cool, right? I'm okay with it, right? So I'm constantly applying for increases. I'm constantly applying for credit. Oh man, we covered a lot of stuff. Let me look at my questions here, see if I missed anything. How to get money. So we talked about getting the money from your PayPal accounts. Easiest way, right? Doing it that way. Best lines or cards to apply for. Cool. All right, so I remember now. So Bill Bates asked about the best lines of credit or credit cards to apply for. So there's easy ones. Like I said, these are probably the 2 easiest ones, or the Capital One, Quicksilver, and the Discover card. Those are both super easy. My favorite of all time, let me show you guys. my all-time favorite tool in the world. This is probably the greatest financial tool ever invented, in my opinion. Let me just pull it up here and get it going. So this one's actually a line of credit. So just so you guys know, the only difference between a line of credit and a credit card is a piece of plastic, right? So a credit card has a piece of plastic attached to it. A line of credit does not. But they're both the exact same instrument, or the exact same, basically the exact same financial instrument. All right, so let me minimize this, bring that up, put that there. All right, so ready? Bing, bang, boom. All right, so on PayPal, right? So you go to your PayPal account, right? There's a whole bunch of stuff. There's like the money that you have in your account. Then I have, remember I said I had a PayPal MasterCard, right? Also, there's something called PayPal Credit. So this is my PayPal Credit. So I have $10,000 worth of PayPal Credit available, and I have about a $3,000 balance right now. Here's why PayPal Credit is the greatest tool ever invented in the history of mankind. PayPal Credit is 6 months interest-free, 6 months free financing for any purchase ever, as long as that purchase is over $100. So it's not like the first 6 months that you have the line, it's interest-free. It's like any time. Like I could have that line of credit for 10 years, and 10 years from now, if I buy something that's over $100, I don't have to pay it off for 6 months. Well, basically, I could, I have 0% interest for 6 months, which brings me into another game that I play. So like the Discover card, a reason why I love the Discover card so much is because this is 14 months interest-free. So for a year and 2 months, I don't have to pay any interest on this card. And a really cool and fun game that you can play is basically what I call credit card arbitrage. So you guys can tell how much of a nerd I am. So basically what I do is I'll bounce around 0% cards to 0% cards. So like if I have a payment on my PayPal Credit and I reach the 5th month, I'll pay it off with my Discover card, right? So now I paid it off with my Discover card, and now I have 14 months again to pay that off. And then let's say I get to the 13th month, the 13th and a half month, and I still don't pay that off. Maybe I'll pay that, that remaining balance off with PayPal Credit or another 0% card. And now I can just bounce it around and I never pay interest on any of my cards. I also really like MasterCard, Visa, and Discover cards. Those are typically easier to get than American Express. And also Chase. Chase has a really high threshold. They want you to basically be like perfect before they'll approve you for credit. I've applied for Chase cards like 14 times, and literally I don't have a single Chase card. That's why like Amazon cards are Chase cards, and so they never approve me. I've never gotten an Amazon card. Although I do have I do have an Amazon store card. So remember I said don't get department store cards? Well, I kind of sort of cheated because I got an Amazon Prime store card. So this is not the Amazon credit card. See how it actually says store card on it? So this is a little different because this I can actually only use on Amazon, but it still works because Amazon sells frickin' everything. They sell food, they sell, gadgets, toys, electronics, whatever you need. So if there is a pandemic, I can buy a phone, I can buy a map, an atlas of the world. I can buy food on Amazon and still be okay with it. So that was the only reason why I actually went for this card, even though it was kind of limited. So like the eBay card's great because I can use this anywhere. I can get gas in my car. I can, go grocery shopping with this and use this anywhere I want. I don't just have to go on eBay to use this. This card I can only go on Amazon or in Whole Foods, places that Jeff Bezos owns, which is almost the entire world. So that's why an Amazon card is okay to get. But there's also other types of Amazon cards which are Chase, and they're a little bit more difficult to get. Is basically
Fred, do you think that it's more difficult to, given today's current climate, to be qualified for any of these cards?
I don't really know, to be honest. So I've literally done nothing different at all in terms of playing this credit game since the coronavirus hit. And about 2 weeks ago, I got applied for this card, which is $7,000. So they gave me $7,000 right in the height of an economic disaster. So, I don't really worry about that stuff. I kind of just go along with it. I have 55 inquiries. What do I have to worry about? I'm not applying for a mortgage. I'm not applying for a car loan. So I don't care what my credit score is. I can trash it. And if I apply for it and they say no, I'm not going to cry. I'm just going to try again next month. So yeah, another really cool card is the Apple card. So Apple recently made a credit card that they have. You have to go to apple.com to get it. And literally, I applied for this like the day it came out, and they just approved me. And literally, I got an increase on it today, which was hysterical. And I got really mad because it was only a $500 increase. And I'm like, you guys couldn't give me any more than $500? All right, so let me kind of summarize everything and bring this all together and see. So also, a couple people mentioned business credit. Let me hit that right before we go because we only got about 5-10 minutes left. But business credit is a bit different than personal credit. So with business credit, you need to get a Dunn's number, a Dun and Bradstreet number, which basically unlocks, in a sense, your credit score, your credit scoring model for business credit. So here's the thing, business credit, personal credit. I'm just using two visual aids here, business credit and personal credit. They're two separate entities. They don't overlap each other in any way. What I mean by that is this: what you do on your business credit report does not affect your personal credit report. And, conversely, your personal credit report does not affect your business credit report. So a really cool thing that you can do if you have both business credit and personal credit, if you're trying to increase your personal credit score, you can move all of your balances from your personal credit over to your business credit. Now you have a zero balance on your personal credit. Your credit score skyrockets, right?
Yeah.
Your business credit is very different because on business credit, there's no hard inquiries. You can basically have unlimited hard inquiries and they don't affect your credit score at all, right? Business credit is great for building credit inside of your business. So that's basically, it basically gives your business value and basically becomes an asset to your business in a sense. But it's just more money. That's the way that I look at it. Like to me, all of my credit cards, all this stuff, I got over 12 credit cards at this point and about 3 or 4 lines of credit. And, I've grown my credit score up to $85,000 in 12 months. And so the way that I look at it is these are my private lenders. These are the people giving me money, right? This is how I'm funding the rehabs at my projects. This is how I'm funding my marketing projects. This is how I'm funding everything that I'm trying to do. And what it really comes down is it comes down to basic math and arithmetic. That's why I have an Excel spreadsheet with all of my credit cards on it, right? Because I'm not being an idiot and spending $50,000 in 1 month and only making $5,000 in the month. And now I have this negative balance going on. I'm being smart about it. And yeah, some months I'll go a little over. I'll make 5 and spend 6. But I can make up that difference with things like PayPal credit. I'll spend 6 on PayPal credit, and then I have 6 months to pay that off. So I'm being smart about my math. If you can do basic math and you have a calculator and you stay on top of this, it works. If you're just, a loose cannon and you're going out here and applying like a drunken sailor and, not tracking anything, not measuring anything, then that's when you start to lose money. That's when you trash your credit score. That's when you end up in collections. And that's when, you can't start getting all this stuff on your credit. Does all of that make sense? Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, inquiries?
There's a few questions on the chat.
Yeah,
One is why does Chase deny you? I don't know if you covered that. But
yeah. So what happens is different credit card companies have different risk thresholds. So basically what I mean by that is say I decided to start my own credit card company. And I say, you know what, look, here's the way that I'm going to do it. I'm going to go against the grain and I'm going to do things completely differently than everybody else out there. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If you have a 500 credit score, I'm going to approve you for credit. But I'm going to charge you 35% interest, and I'm only going to start everybody off with a $300 credit line. So now it's equal opportunity for everybody out there. If they have a $500 credit, 500 credit score, they're approved. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to be very, very careful with my money, right? Think of it like, again, a private lender, because that's all a credit card company is. They're a private lender. And you come to them and you say, look, I have a 420 credit score. I've never done a real estate deal before, but I really need you to trust me and believe in me. And you may eventually find somebody who says, look, I like you, you seem like a good guy, and I want to fund this venture for you. However, I need a real lot of security from you. I need, I'm going to charge you 15% interest, plus I'm going to charge you 6 points up front, plus, I want a, first lien mortgage position with a confession of judgment, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Credit card companies will do the same thing. There's a company called Mission Lane, and actually, Emily, you should check this out. So Mission Lane is one of those companies where they say, look, you can have a 500 credit score, a 420 credit score, and we'll approve you. We'll give you a credit card, but it's only going to be $300, and it's going to have about a 30% interest rate. If you prove yourself and you start making payments on it, we'll give you increases, and we'll let you rebuild yourself. Chase is the opposite. Chase's risk threshold is very different. Chase says, we don't want anybody who's a high risk. We want only very, very low risk people. So you need to have a 740 credit score, or I don't know the exact terms, but I'm just making a hypothetical. You need to have a 740 credit score or above, or you're not approved. You need to have this debt to income ratio. You need to make this much money a month. You need to have this, blah, blah, blah. So their risk threshold is very different.
Makes sense.
Than these other companies. That's why Chase is hard to get approved for.
Evan Nally has a couple questions. If you look at her, she says, yeah, you can.
Cool. So Natalie said, should I open up a business checking account first or a business credit card? I have never opened any business accounts, but I know I should. I guess I shouldn't have closed my 3 Chase cards. Oh, good point. Good point. Another thing with credit, never close any credit cards ever if you can, right? If you can, keep them all open. So I have a $500 secured credit card with TrueMark, which is my bank. And the only reason that I still have that card is because there's something on your credit report known as your age of file. And your age of file accounts for how long you've had access to credit. And so here's what happens. If you have a credit card for 10 years and you cancel that card, it basically, on your credit report, it basically acts like that card never existed. So that last 10 years of credit history that you had on there just disappears. It literally just goes away. And so like your age of file could go from 10 years down to like 2 years because you canceled one card. So try to keep all your cards if you can. I actually have a booklet with like card slots in there, and I keep all my cards that I don't use in there. And another tip is the cards that you're not using, try to make a couple payments on them a year, right? Just pull them out and pay something on them once a quarter, or maybe put automatic payments on there for like Apple, right? Apple charges you $1 a month. Put those on the cards that you're not using so that the company doesn't cancel them on you. Because sometimes when cards aren't being used, the company will just slice them and say, hey, you haven't used this card in 6 years, we're getting rid of it, right? So try to keep a payment on them and keep them top of mind. Again, like I said, this is going to become a part-time business. And really, when I say part-time, I mean maybe 5 hours a week if you're really nuts. You need to stay on top of this and not just let your credit cards control you. You need to control them. But then Natalie also asked a couple other questions. Said, should I open a business checking account or a business credit card first? 2 totally separate things, Natalie. One has nothing to do with the other. So a business checking account is great, like if you have rental properties. So one of the things that I would recommend is getting a different checking account for each rental property. And I know Wells Fargo has a very good system for setting that up online. But yeah, you could have a business checking account and run, transactions through your business. And you should, if you have a business, you should be running transactions through there. But then if you want to build credit in your business, get credit card. Think of it this way. Here's the easiest way. Think of a business like you cloned yourself. You literally made a clone of you. So you have you, and then you have you incorporated, right? but you incorporated has no arms, has no legs, and has no brain. So there needs to be an entity that has arms, legs, and a brain that controls this clone and makes decisions for this clone. So this clone says, hey, I want to build up my credit. Call it personal credit, call it business credit, whatever you want to do. So you're going to build credit for it. So it's literally like Fred Posimo 1, build up these credit cards. Fred Posimo 2 is going to build up other credit cards as well. But I still have a bank account. I still have a checking account, a savings account, all that kind of stuff. But I'm just building credit as well. So I hope that made it a little
Great value.
a little easier.
Great information. Yeah.
I think is that everything?
I think so. I want to thank you, Fred, for coming to the circle, and I definitely want you to come back, and have a little bit more people for you. I'm definitely going to be in touch. I've been trying to build a reach of people to join today. So parts of your presentation, I was trying to trying to figure out Facebook and stuff. I'm kind of brand new in running these, so I'm still trying to get the kinks out and get people to come. So, but I really want to thank you for your time today.
Yeah, so
I know everybody is really,
So real quick, before everybody goes, I have a gift for everybody for being here. So it's an absolutely free gift. I'm giving this away to you guys just because you're all awesome and you're here. So I made a credit blueprint. So it's basically all the information that I gave you captured into one landing page, essentially. So it's got videos, it's got a place for you to schedule calls with me and ask me any questions, and it's got all the stuff that I do. So here's what you do. I'm putting it in the chat right now. So text me. So my number is 215-596-1515. Text me the word credit, and I'll send that blueprint right over to you. So just text the word credit to 215-596-1515 if you want access to my blueprint. It's there, and I'll shoot it to you. Cool.
Anything capitalized or is it just all lowercase?
Doesn't matter. Yeah, the CREDIT, and I put it right in the chat box for you guys so you can see it.
Cool.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's capitalized, lowercase, or whatever.
Great. I look forward to doing that. I think that it was extreme value, and it really helps people out to learn about credit.
Yeah. And if anybody increases their credit over the next couple of days, let me know. Reach out to me. Let me know. Hey, I got $1,000 in credit. Hey, I got $3,000. I know some people. I know like Bill Bates. You did this. I helped him out a little bit, and he grew his credit pretty quickly. So let me know.
Yeah. Fred was great. He gave me a tip where he got 20,000. So I went to them about 6 weeks ago, right in the middle of the pandemic. I got $5,000 easy. They didn't even blink. They just approved me right away, and they said, "You want to come into the branch and pick it up?" This is before you couldn't go into a branch. I'm like, no, I live in New Jersey, but it's a Pennsylvania credit union, and I just told them that I'm a realtor in Pennsylvania, which is not true. I'm a realtor in Jersey, but they don't know that, so I was able to get the card, and they started me with a savings account. And I'm actually using that savings account to tuck money away because I can't go to the branch and actually take it out. So that's my tuck away fund too.
So that was Citadel, right, Bill?
Yeah, it was good stuff. Thank you.
Another little quick hack is check out small credit unions. So Citadel is a bank that Bill and I got some credit from. So I actually got $20,000 from them that like the first day they opened. The cool thing about them is they only have 4 branches in all of Pennsylvania. So what happens is when banks open up, they need customers, right? So if you ever get a credit card application in the mail and it says, "Hey, you're pre-qualified for this card," don't throw that out. Apply for that credit, because basically they're raising their hand saying, "Hey, we're new and we need customers, and we want you to be a customer. So we're going to go real easy on you and not go real crazy with our qualifications." So Citadel is one of those. So you can check out Citadel too if you're looking for some cards that are likely a little bit easier to get. Right? And remember, if you get declined, don't cry. Wait 2 months and apply again. And try to limit your applications to about 3 a day. Right? I usually do about 3, maybe 4 a day, just because once you start doing too many, they start populating everywhere, and then it's like it gets harder. But stick to like 3 to 4 a day, and you'll be good to go. Cool. So you guys got my blueprint. You guys got a way to reach out to me. You guys can schedule a time on my calendar, and I hope you guys had a great time. I hope you guys make some money.
Thanks, Fred. That was great.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Fred.
Appreciate it.
Got it,
All right.
guys.
All right,
You know
guys.
who makes the money.
Enjoy your
Let's do it.
Saturday.
You too, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
See you.